And we are live. HOCWD with DJ Marmalade. That's right, guys. DJ Marmalade is back just for this one episode. She may come back on other episodes, but you guys got to remember the podcast is not my grandma's type of thing. She's too cool for school, you know. Like whenever you reach a millionaire status, you know, and you have all this lucrative money in the bank, like you don't got time to do silly podcasts. You know, my grandma's going over to like Hawaii and going to these vacation resorts in like Venezuela, you know, and she's got a vacation home in Puerto Rico, you know. My grandma don't want to be staying on the podcast all day. She's got private jets to be flying. She has like a big helicopter outside in her front yard that she likes to joyride around, like, you know. My grandma don't got time. Yep. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You know, my grandma, she's done some pretty impressive things, you know. And if you look at any of the older podcasts that me and my grandma did, and you listen to some of those stories, I want to tell you this right now. Every single one of those stories that I told, it is real. It is real stuff. Everything is real. So make sure you believe everything I say when I'm telling you stories about my grandma, because it's all real. Yeah. See, my grandma will reject being a millionaire on the podcast because, you know, she don't want people, you know, trying to rob her. But I tell you what, I'll tell you this right now. My grandma, she was the teacher to Warren Buffett. Yep. My grandma taught, yep, yes you were. My grandma taught Warren Buffett everything he knew. He knows now, you know. My grandma taught him everything that he knows. Because my grandma was actually the creator of NASDAQ. She was actually in association with NASDAQ in the beginning times. Weren't you, Grandma? See, I told you guys. See, I can't make this up. Like if you were to look, if you see, now I want y'all to image my grandma right now. See, this is what she's looking like right now. She's in a suit right now. You know, she's sitting on a chair of luxury right now. Like I'm talking about a recliner made from the finest of leathers, you know, the finest of leathers. Like we're talking about, what's some illegal leather that my grandma might have a hold of? What'd you say that recliner was made out of? Oh, yeah, that's right. My grandma said that the leather material used in the recliner that she's sitting in right now is made from bat. That's right. A protected species. Bat, yeah. Like I tell you, that recliner that my grandma has, made from bat skin, and that's a smooth sit, I tell you that. Grandma, but we're talking about leather. I don't think you can get coronavirus from leather. See, my grandma's got leather. She gets bat leather. And you guys know how protected bats are in our society. Grandma gets her leather bats from Venezuela. No, Thailand. Make it Thailand. I forgot. It was Thailand, not Venezuela. Yeah, my grandma also has a cottage up in Thailand. So, you know, my grandma only flies first class. I'm just saying. She just only flies first class. I remember one time my mama said, listen, I'll get you a plane ticket and fly you down here. My grandma said, you better make sure it's first class or I'm not coming. My grandma tells it like it is. She doesn't play no games. Oh, my grandma is cool. This is my best friend right here, DJ Marmalade. You see the chemistry when we have on the podcast? Because you know why we have this type of chemistry? Because this is really how me and my grandma talk on a day-to-day basis. This is how we talk. Like, there is no sugarcoating. It's not no show. It's not no nothing. This is just me and my grandma being me and my grandma. That's all it is. You see, me and my grandma have a relationship that a lot of people don't understand. But you know what? Let them stay misunderstood, because while they're being misunderstood and they're all confused, me and my grandma's going to be sitting in my grandma's, first-class private jet, smoking on the finest of Cuban cigars. Oh, my grandma's so cool. So, grandma, I need to know. The people need to know. Did you have a coffee today? What? What happened? Oh, man. Uncle Mark, you got to get on that. You know my grandma needs her coffee. If she doesn't, what is this guy doing? I guess that's his car. I'm hoping that's his car. This guy literally put his boot up on the car and pushed his leg in on the car. Like, it kind of looked like he was trying to kick the car. I swear, you see some stuff out here at night. So see, these are my type of people, though. I like being out at the nightlife. I prefer nightlife than, daytime any day, because daytime's just full of headaches. It kind of looked like he was trying to push a dent in the car, because he, put his foot up on the door, and then he, pushed his leg in. Yeah, it looked like he was trying to push a dent in the car. He got in the passenger seat, too, so I don't even know if that's his car. Yeah, my grandma's got the finest of cars. She drives right now. She drives what do you got? You got like a 2020 Rolls Royce? Yeah, 2020 Scion, yeah. But see, guys, I know what y'all are thinking. Y'all know what you car heads are thinking. Scion's been discontinued, blah, 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 blah. But listen, my grandma is friends with the guy who created Scion. My grandma gets custom-made everything. I'm telling you, if you look at my grandma's Scion, her 2020 Scion, it's got leather bat interior all in it. Leather bat. You can't get that nowhere else. You know what people say whenever they see my grandma driving around? I can't believe you have leather bat in your car. Don't you know that that's a protected species? And my grandma just looks at them and she says, yeah, protected species for my car. They only protect the species for my grandma's decoration and everything. Man, I remember when we were in Illinois. This was when we were little kids. And I remember there was a bat in your basement. I remember that. That was the scariest thing ever as a kid. Because, when a kid hears bat, you automatically think of, vampires and blood sucking. So me and Joy, I remember, I know I was scared as heck. I was scared. I didn't want to go get my blood sucked. But then later on down the road as an adult, you realize that bats are nothing like the movies portray them to be. See, that's what I mean. People can really think bad about bats because of movies. Because I'm pretty sure there are some grown adults out there that really think that bats are these violent bloodsuckers, when they're really not. Yeah, but they don't be going out of the way just to go suck on your blood. They're actually very nocturnal creatures that don't do nothing to people. I've never heard of someone being attacked by a bat. Have you ever heard of this? My grandma, one time, she actually got into a fist fight with a bat. I'll never forget that. Well, I'll never forget it. I was a kid. I remember Grandpa came up there and he was like, Karen, there's a bat in the basement. My grandma got her brass knuckles on, and she said, all right, I'm going to take care of it. My grandma went down there. I don't want to put no images in y'all's head, but let's just say that bat never came back. Grandma didn't kill it, though. She took the bat outside with her bare hands. But they duked it out. They duked it out. And that's when my grandma realized that she really loves bat interior and things now. Is that why you do bat interior now? Because of that fight? Oh, my grandma's the coolest. So, Grandma, when's the last time you had a coffee? Yeah. Ooh. What kind? Ooh. How was it made? Ooh. How'd they make it? Two Splendas and some cream. 4 creams. You guys heard it here. If you want to get the custom luxury coffee drink from Dunkin' Donuts, you have to order a large iced mocha decaf with 2 Splendas and 4 creams. Is that how you make it? There you go. So go to Dunkin' Donuts and go order it. You can just call it the DJ Marmalade. Say, hey, y'all ever heard of, can I get that DJ Marmalade real quick? Because, Grandma, tell them how the drive-thru people treat you when you pull up in that drive-thru. Tell them. My grandma gets treated, they already know what she wants before she even pulls in. Do they not, Grandma? My grandma pulled up in the drive-thru, and the guy says, well, what did he say to you? He, said your order out to you. I'm not making it up, Grandma. That really happened. Because you would go there so often. See, you don't go there now because my grandma gets luxury treatment. My uncle brings her coffee because my grandma gets the luxury treatment. See, that's what I mean. When you got millions and millions of dollars in your bank, people will do stuff for you. My grandma gets the luxury treatment. Sleep when I can plan. How is the sleep when I can plan going for you? I got to get on that. If you want to be a multi-billionaire, you got to do the sleep when I can plan. There you go. My grandma's awesome. So, Mimi, what'd you do today? There you go. What shows did you watch? That's a good one. That is a good one right there. You have to watch Good Morning America. That's a must. I hope you watched it live. Did you watch it live? Did you watch it live? Yeah. You did? That's the best way to watch. That's how you have to watch it, Grandma. You have to watch it that way. You know what I just noticed? I noticed the timer ain't even on this. Okay, there it is. Kinda. Yeah, because I'm using a different recording program. See, this recording program that I use when I do it by myself, like, it's got a whole time limit thing. I don't know if I want to, yeah, it doesn't tell me the time. So I'm just going to estimate it out and just do my best to try to hit an hour. My grandma's cool as heck. Yeah, but, so what happened on Good Morning America, Grandma? There you go. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That is right. We all know how he died. We all know how he died. It doesn't have to be sugar-coated. It was right in our face. It was right in our face for how many months? How many months did they play that snuff film? To a bunch of people that were forced in isolation, and they wanted to replay a snuff film over and over and over and over. And then, on top of that, oh, you blurred the faces, you blurred it, but you continued to play it. Oh my gosh. Yep. Yep. So that's why I saw George Floyd's picture, because I saw it at the gym, but I don't watch the TV. I just see it because they have like several different TVs, but I'm usually watching my movies. And I was wondering why George Floyd was back in the news. I'm like, man, we already done talked about all this stuff about that snuff film that you guys put in our face over and over and over. But I didn't know they were trying to lie on it all. Let the man rest in peace. Let the man rest in peace. Let the man rest in peace. He's going to get his either way. He's going to get his either way. Because either way, however it went down, see, the way that it works, Grandma, the guy did that with acts of brutality, right? So right now he's probably trying to lie his way out, and, get all his little legal friends involved and to get him back into the media because he wants justice to basically not be served when justice is still going to be served some way, somehow, It's going to come around. It's going to come around. You better just take it right now, because I'm telling you, if you're lying about the problem and you're trying to get lies to make it easier for you, it's not going to be easier, because if you do get off scot-free and you don't do your time that you deserve to do, it's still going to come around and get you. It's just going to be even harder when it hits. The guy needs, because he knows dang well if he gets locked up, there are going to be people on the hunt for him. He knows that. He knows that. He knows that. So for them to accuse drugs and stuff in the system of him, come on. Come on. They need to let that man rest in peace. We know what happened. We're not stupid. It was put in our face for how many months? We're talking more than 1 month. We're talking more than 2 months. It was on a good 3, 4, 5 months that they kept playing that snuff film. I will never forget it because I tell you, Grandma, well, you know how I felt about the whole thing because I'm pretty sure we discussed it on the other podcast that we did in the past. Like, it was so disgusting with how they could do that and play it on the news like it was nothing. I mean, it was disgusting. Like, let the man rest in peace. Let the man rest in peace. Like, and see, that's another thing that he's going to get punished for doing. The guy's not letting the man rest in peace. You done killed the man. You done killed the man. You killed him. The blood is on your hands. You killed the man. And see, he ain't going to let him rest in peace because now it's haunting him. It's haunting him. It's haunting him every second of the day. He knows it. That guy knows it. Oh, no, Grandma, come on. That's how it works. If you take a life from someone, it's going to haunt you. It's going to haunt you till it's going to haunt you until your last day because you literally took life. Life. You took a life. You tell him, Grandma. That's right. You tell him, Grandma. You let that man know, Grandma. See, my grandma tells it like it is. But what else is on there, Grandma, besides the whole George Floyd situation? Because we don't really need... Because to be honest, that's a time I really don't like to relive. That's kind of why, I really want... Let the man rest in peace. But what else was on there, though? What else did you watch? What else did you learn? You got any updates or anything on Trump or anything? There you go. Again? Wow. Okay. Cool. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, if you're talking about the check that already went out, yeah, I already got it. Yeah, unless he sent out another one. Did he send out another one? Yeah, then I already got it then. Grandma, you must have been watching some reruns. Were you watching reruns? Because, yeah, we got them checks like a couple months ago, I think. If I'm not mistaken. But what else, Grandma? What's some other updates? That's okay. You know anything about Trump? I wonder if he's out of the media. Like, is he... That's funny. I honestly think my grandma should run for president. My grandma would make a great commander-in-chief. She really would. I'll never forget the day my grandma made that campaign back in 1980s. The election in 1980. Yep, my grandma was going to be the first president, female president. But they rejected her. And the thing is my grandma had a very solid following, for a while. I remember when my grandma used to sell Avon. Like, if you wanted the good stuff, the good Avon products, you had to go see my grandma. Like, my grandma, she was really, really good at it. My grandma, I remember those days. She had Avon catalogs everywhere. boxes everywhere. My grandma was a distributor for Avon. Didn't you like selling Avon? Yep. Yep. I know who you're talking about too. I bet you $1,000,000. You talking about Sue, ain't you? Bam! Is she still your Avon dealer? Wow! That girl has been selling like since I was a kid. Yeah, my grandma used to be up there too. She used to be a good seller, just like that woman. I remember people were always knocking on Grandma's door for the new Avon. I remember that. And then my grandma had like exclusive catalogs for her prime time customers. Like, do you ever get discounts? Wait a minute, do you still go get Avon? You still buy it? Do you miss it? Do you miss selling Avon? Yeah, too much work. Is it too much work? Yeah. You know my mama's coming up there, right? Yeah, she's trying to get me to come up, but I don't know if it's going to happen because I'm in the transition of changing jobs. But I told Mom I'll try, but really I want to get out of my job, you know. I kind of want to start new. I want to, you know, start helping people and whatnot. Just do what my caseworker wanted me to do. But except I'm doing it without my caseworker the whole time. Do you know that? You know I've been doing all this stuff. I've been doing all this stuff without my caseworker. The time I had the dispatcher training and all that stuff, I did all that stuff without my caseworker. Guess who did all the paperwork? This guy. Guess who did all the boring, long process by himself and still go to work? This guy. Me. Yep. And I tell you, that dispatcher job, that training was, I told the guy, this is the most miserable training course I have ever taken. It was to the point when and Mama said, James, you didn't even check if you got the job. And I said, Mom, I honestly don't care. I don't want to do that. Yeah, you know, it's cool to be helping people. People that want to do that, go for it. But the thing is, that was the most miserable training course I have ever been in. They didn't give you no introduction or nothing. It was very short to the point, and then you're stuck on that computer for 3 hours. 3 hours. You don't even know what's going on. You don't even know what to expect on that dang computer. It was miserable. But I finished it. I stayed the whole time. I had a huge headache. I honestly think I took myself out to eat after I did all that misery. But, you know, that's when, you know, I started thinking about stuff my caseworker told me. See, my caseworker wanted me to be a peer representative where I would basically be helping people that have the same diagnosis as me and you, or people that are equivalent. And if you, because you know, a lot of new people that don't listen to our old podcast, me and my grandma, we have schizoaffective bipolar type. That is our diagnosis. That is what the legends are. Ain't that right, Grandma? Oh, you're not bipolar type? Wow, so I got something beyond Grandma. I'm schizoaffective bipolar type. But then again, I have discussed that with the podcast. Me and my grandma, with our episodes, we're completely different. Me and Grandma are completely different. My episodes would be more manic and more aggressive, where my grandma, she would be more reclusive and wanting to stay distant. So me and Grandma, we're totally different when it comes to our episodes and stuff. Man, I remember those days too. I remember my old tattoo artist. He loved listening to us talk about mental health and stuff and all that stuff. I swear I miss him. But he's doing better things, though. He's doing better things. He's living his best life. He retired from tattoos. He took a scuba diving course, and like he wants to be a teacher for scuba diving, and like he's doing big things. He's doing really good in life. I'm proud of him. And my new tattoo artist, she's really cool. She's really cool. I've done 2 sessions with her so far, and like our relationship is really good. It's different from what me and my old tattoo artist had, but you know, you got to accept differences because change is all a part of life. I honestly think I met my old tattoo artist for severe reasons for my predicament at that time, because he was a big help with, keeping me with knowledge of what's going on in the real world, because I was just so naive at that time, I swear. You meet people for a reason, and then when you've done succeeded with that person, you'll notice that person will start to go away because your training is done with them. They were your teacher for what you needed, and then they leave. That's how life is. Have you ever noticed that? You ever met someone that helped you out so much and then they just left? That's because they were there for a reason. You don't meet people by accident, guys. You meet people for a solid reason. But it's up to you to acknowledge what it may be. But, everything's been going good, though, with my new tattoo artist. She's really cool. It's really awesome to be, getting tattooed by someone who is young, because like I am their trial and error, like they're learning from me. They're learning, I could be their future basically, because they're actually putting practice on me. Because, from what I've heard, like it's really hard to, especially did you know it's really hard to be a female tattoo artist? Do you know that? Yep. Believe it or not. Because I guess it's a man-driven, yep. Man, I might watch Ratatouille tonight. I love that movie, because we're talking about the subject matter, and I like Colette on Ratatouille. Because she talks about how hard she said, "I am the only female in this kitchen. Do you want to know why? It is because I am a very excellent cook. I worked hard to get here." She was talking about basically how old men like down women, and say they can't cook. Haven't you watched Ratatouille? Mm-hmm. Oh, Grandma, you gotta watch the whole thing. Grandma, you gotta watch the whole thing. You gotta watch the whole thing. Now, Grandma, did Sammy Sosa, when he went to the dang baseball bat and he went to go hit a baseball, now did he only do part of his job, or did he go for that home run? That's what you got to do with your movies, Grandma. You got to go for the home run. You have to go for the home run. Mm. My grandma's cool. But yeah, she educated me a lot on that stuff too. And that's what I mean too. I'm learning so much. When I tell you, she is an amazing, 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 amazing artist. I mean, this girl can draw. It's beyond the stuff that she can draw. I'm very thankful to have the artist I have. And I always tell her how thankful I am, when I have a good session with her and stuff, because it's cool, you know. And she's very talented, and I know she's gonna do great things, you know, like down the road. Like I've told her, you know, like years down the road, people are gonna be paying an arm and a leg getting a tattoo from you. Because I'm telling you, like, this woman can draw, Grandma. Like, I wish I could draw that good. Like, that's one trait. That's one trait that I don't have, you know. But I got the tie-dye, though. But I cannot draw. I wish I could. I remember she was trying to do tutorial things, teach me kind of how to draw. But, man, them drawings came out yucky. Like, they were yucky. But, man, I've tried a lot of different things, too, until I found tie-dye. I found tie-dye when I was talking to her, too. She don't even do tie-dye. I was just trying to find something that's outside of writing, you know. I just wanted to do something other than writing. I'm really good at writing, but I wanted to do something different, you know. I picked up the harmonica, but I'm just okay at the harmonica. I'm not, like, the best, you know. But with tie-dye, just look at my mom. Look at how much Mom's progressing. Mom. Whoa. See, my Grandma, tell these people how good my mom's tie-dye is. Tell them. You tell them, Grandma. My grandma knows exactly what she's talking about. But I tell you, that's one trait that I wish I had, because like I explained it, you know, these people can come up to these tattoo artists and they can just literally say, I want a tattoo that's like, I'm feeling like this. I don't know how to image it, but I feel this, that, and the other. You know, I feel this way, you know, and all this other stuff. And these people can literally draw out your emotions. Like, how cool is that? How cool is that? That is what artists can do, Grandma. The people that can draw, they can draw out emotions. And I think that is the coolest thing ever. They're not putting it into words. They're giving you a visual representation of what you're feeling. Like, that is cool as heck. And that's the stuff my artist does. Like, if you saw some of her drawings, if I come up to Illinois, I'm going to have to show you. Because, like, she's very, very talented. Very talented. Yeah, she's 22. When I told Mama she was 22, Mama was like, oh, wow, she's pretty young. And I'm like, yeah, but Mom, if you think about it, you know, I'm actually, you know, giving her an opportunity to get practice in, you know. That's why, you know, I love it. I got a tattoo from her, but the thing is the ink didn't stick properly, so it looks like a really bad tattoo. But she said to come by, and she's just going to color it in again. Sometimes that happens where the ink won't hold, because she was explaining it to me. And yeah, in that part of my arm, I use that part of my arm a lot. So it really interfered with the healing process. Yeah, my grandma's got a lot of tattoos. Yes, you do. Grandma, I was there when you got that werewolf. Oh, my grandma's cool. Yep, my grandma's got a werewolf on her arm, and the werewolf is riding a motorcycle. Because you see, my grandma used to be a motorcycle rider. Yep, my grandma used to be a part of a biker club. They were called as Wolves on Wheels. Wolves on Wheels. That's right. You remember those days? Oh my gosh, I just thought about it. There's an episode of South Park that is so funny where they make fun of people who drive motorcycles. It is the most funniest thing I have ever seen. Like, these people, like, when they're not on their motorcycle, like, their motorcycle could be in park, and they're just waiting on the rest of their biker gang, and they will literally sit on their bike when it's not on, and they'll be making the noises themselves, like and like when they're in public and they're not getting people to look at their cool jackets and stuff, like all of them just come into the public place and they're just going and they're making all this noise in the grocery store or something, and so everyone can look at them so they can see how cool they look with their leather jackets and stuff. Oh man, I love that episode. Oh, right now, my favorite episode right now that I've been watching is the Redskins. Do you know the story about the Redskins? Washington State is their football team. They took away the logo and everything. Did you know that it was racist? Grandma, Redskins is a racist word. I didn't know it. I didn't know that, but Grandma, Redskins is like the N-word to Native Americans. Yes. Think about it, Grandma. The W word for Mexicans. And the N-word, because I know my grandma had some bad experiences with that word, because my grandma was in a interracial relationship, and back in them days, boy, that stuff was bad. But Redskins is no different from those words. Do you know that? Yep, it is a racial slur. And so when I heard about this, I'm like, man. And they were just advertising it like that, and like it's literally become a normal word. Like it's literally become a normal word. Like people just thought it was always a football team. But no, it is a racial slur, Grandma. It is a racial slur. I wonder if there's a definition of it. I got a phone. Yeah, you just look it up. But yeah, the Washington Redskins is no more the Redskins. They took that name down. The Native Americans finally won, because believe it or not, the Native Americans have actually been trying to get them to change their name for years. For years, Grandma. Yes. But the thing is they just kept getting declined and denied until they finally won. Because they didn't give up. And you got to think, yeah, the definition of a redskin is a North American Indian. Redskin is a slang term for Native Americans in the United States and First Nations in Canada. The term redskin underwent pejoration through the 19th to early 20th centuries, and in contemporary dictionaries of American English, it is labeled usually offensive, disparaging, insulting, or taboo. I'm going to just type, is Redskins a racial slur? In 2020, the name Washington Redskins was retired with a new name selected by the contents, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, there's a Native American guy who did an article, and he's explaining about his tribe. And one thing that he put in the article, my tribe doesn't identify as Redskins. This is a derogatory term. coined by colonialists, often historically used, interchangeable with, and then it just goes period, 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 because I didn't click the article because it's going to take forever to load. But as you can see, it is a racial slur. So pretty much, we have been having a football team with the name of equivalent of the N-word. Can you imagine? That was going on because, Grandma, how long has that football team been around? That's what I mean. We just thought it was a word. See, that's what I mean. They normalized the racial slur. And see how that could happen? Just like that? And the thing is, Native Americans already get treated like crap. They get treated like crap, and we know this. We know this. I don't even know why people treat them like crap. Why do they treat them like crap? They're just people like you and me. They just want to live differently. But yeah, so pretty much, the Native Americans are already getting disrespected like crazy. And then on top of that, there's a dang football team that has a racial slur after them. Like, think about how that looks to them. Think about how that looks to them, Grandma. They probably really felt unwanted. I think that's sad. Because, see, you know, in my defense, I had no idea. My grandma, as elderly as she is, she didn't even know that that was a racial slur. That's how much they normalized that word. They normalized that word to that point. Now, Grandma, how scary would it be if they normalized the N-word like that? How scary would that be? How scary would that be? That would be scary. That would be scary. But they did it to the Native Americans, and look at how long it took them to get it taken down. Yes. I swear. I'm just saying, that it blew my mind when I found this out, because it's like I've been lied to the whole time. I thought that was just a cool word, you know, for the football team, you know. But now, no, it's not a cool word. But yeah, they took away the logo and everything. They're just known as Washington State. They don't even have the logo anymore, Grandma. Because now the logos symbolize is racist. So I hope them people who you know, we're big fans of them. Yeah, they changed their logo to just a W. It's just a W. Yep, my grandma used to play football back in the day. That is so crazy. But I mean, think about it. It's all in video games. It's in all that stuff, Grandma. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine being a Native American and seeing all that. You know, just seeing that. Can you imagine being a little kid? A little innocent child seeing all that? See, that's one thing that I have already spoke on my episodes of the podcast is like how much stuff that is normalized that should not be normalized. That word should have never been normalized. They should have nipped that whenever racism was getting nipped to begin with. But the thing is it moved from, well, I don't even know how long we have been so mean to the Native Americans. I think we've always been mean to them. Have we always been mean to the Native Americans? Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Yeah, their land gets stolen from them all the time, yeah. Like, man. You tell them, Grandma. You tell them, Grandma. Tell them, Grandma. See, my grandma tells it like it is. And my grandma, she experienced racism, so my grandma knows a lot about that stuff. My grandma was around a very hateful time. And her and my grandpa, they could never be in peace. They couldn't be in peace back in them days. Because you had racists everywhere. I wouldn't want to live back in them days, Grandma. I really wouldn't. Y'all lived through some crazy times. But I'll tell you this, though. My grandma's got a big meeting tomorrow. She's got a big meeting. Ah, man. See here. Yep. Say we're hitting it pretty close. I'm going to just talk for a couple minutes and so. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good on the podcast. How's this podcast been treating you, Grandma? So far, so good. Yeah. I'll tell you, though, I'm very thankful for me and Mom's relationship with how everything's going. Like, 'cause my grandma knows how separate me and the family used to be. We used to be very separate. And my grandma was always trying to be the peacemaker. And my grandma was trying to get them to understand where I was mentally on a whole lot of stuff. Because me and Grandma, we have the same diagnosis. We have the same problems. So, but look at me now, Grandma. I'm doing all this work without my caseworker now. That's an accomplishment. Of course, Grandma, if I'm going to leave my job for this job, yes, I'm going to get paid for it. I'm not going to be doing a job for free. You see, guys, back in my grandma's day, people that worked, you know, in those type of positions that I'm going for, they didn't get paid back in them days. So my grandma, she had to make sure that I was getting paid. Of course, Grandma, how would I pay rent? But why would you think I'm going to apply to a job that's not going to pay me? You see how my grandma works? I tell you guys, don't ever work for my grandma. You got to remember, she's a billionaire. My grandma's just going to look at you and say, oh, you want to work for my corporation? Do you want to work for free? And then they're just sitting there. They're like, but I got a family. I got kids. I got to eat. I'm hungry. And my grandma would just be like, well, if you want to work for my mass corporation, you got to work for free. My grandma loves watching them numbers get higher. I think the last time my grandma checked her bank account, she said that it was like $130 billion or something like that. Yep. Yep. But if you're listening to me right now and then what's me just saying that, well, guess what? It's already multiplied by now. My grandma's invested in every stock that you could think of. Like I said, my grandma taught Warren Buffett everything he knows. Didn't you, Grandma? See, my grandma's being humble. So be thankful that my grandma's being humble. Because my grandma could teach everything. She could teach you guys a thing or two. Ooh, just like my grandma could teach Spanish lessons. My grandma speaks the Espanol. Oh, but you speak it pretty dang good, Grandma. Watch this, guy. I'm gonna test you right now. Grandma, say jalapeno. Bam! Bam! You see that pronunciation she did? You see that pronunciation she did? People don't say it like that. People do not say it like that. Jalapeno. Now, how do you say it? Bam. See? Give me something long. Give me something long. Say something long. Your favorite dish. Ooh. Ooh. With the bacalao? Ooh. What about the ganaos? See how she's pronouncing all this, guys? I'm telling you. You want to learn Spanish? I'm telling you, my grandma could teach you. What about the plantains? See how she corrected me? See how she corrected me? I'm telling you guys, my grandma's a Spanish scholar. My grandma taught me the Espanol. Didn't you, Grandma? She did. She's just being humble right now, guys. My grandma's a Spanish scholar. But anyway, Grandma. Let's see here. What time is it anyway? I gotta get in here. I'd say we did a pretty good time on the podcast. What do you say? Because the thing is this dang recorder don't have a timer. See, at least with the other one. But this is a special one because, yeah, I mean, even the first one that we did together, it was only a 42-minute podcast. But I actually like this. I like having you on the podcast because, you know, the energy is completely different than from me being by myself. By me being by myself, I just talk the whole time. I mean, I go nonstop. I talk nonstop. So, and here we go. They're shining the lights on me. Yeah, go on, shine the lights on me. That's what they do all the time. This work vehicle, they do this stuff all the time, and they know people are sleeping. They know people are sleeping in their cars here. Because what's this? Who's this? Man, I wish they would stop. Oh, this is my friend's friend. This is the one that wants the shirt from me. Oh, so she really does like tie-dye. Okay. Yeah, one of my friend's friends requested a shirt. Yep. Yeah, my grandma, she does tie-dye. She does tie-dye. When's the last time you did some tie-dye, Grandma? She does. My grandma does one of the best tie-dyes. My grandma grew up in the time frame. The time frame. So it's in my grandma's blood. See, I remember. See, my grandma might not have done the tie-dye stuff, but I told my grandma, see, if me and my mom were to go up there, get the tie-dye material and stuff, my grandma would show us some tie-dye that we have never even thought of because it's in my grandma's bloodline. That's right. My grandma was once a hippie. Tell them, Grandma. My grandma was a hippie. She was one of the best hippies in the world. She was such a good hippie that she didn't wear tie-dye. My grandma was a purist when it came to being a hippie. Weren't you, Grandma? See, my grandma, if you got to think of it like, you know how England is with the royalty and stuff. Like when my grandma says, you're one of those hippies that wear the tie-dye? You're not a real hippie. That's how my grandma would talk to him. Wait, though. I just remembered. My grandma did wear tie-dye. The Minnie Mouse tie-dye shirt. You remember that? You remember the Minnie Mouse tie-dye shirt? Me and my mom's got to make you something like that. I'm going to tell Mom about that. Because Mom, I don't think Mom knows that story. Because, see, that's one thing that people have learned, like in my family, that I know more about my grandma than they do. That's how close me and my grandma are. That's how close me and my grandma are. Best friends forever. Ain't that right, Grandma? Best friends forever. My grandma knows everything about me. I know everything about her. That's what best friends are for. You know, we got each other's back. I remember that one time when I was getting bullied, and then my grandma said, I'm getting on the next flight right now. And I said, you are, Grandma? And my grandma said, yeah. And next thing I know, I'm showing up in middle school, and here comes my grandma coming right through the doors. Where's this bully at? And I said, Grandma, he's over there. And next thing you know, my grandma got into a scuffle with a middle school kid. Yep. My grandma won, too. I'll tell you that right now. She won. My grandma showed him who was boss. Yep, my grandma was a fighter. Were you a fighter back in the day? You were a Chihuahua? I'm talking about back in your wild child days. I'm talking about back in your wild child days. I know you don't want to fight. When you were protesting and stuff. Oh, you didn't? Because, see, my grandma used to protest, guys. We did an old podcast on that, but the thing is, it's not on these new podcasts. So we might have to do a revisit when my grandma used to protest. That's right, guys. My grandma protested side by side with the Black Panthers. Well, the Black Panthers were involved with one of the things that y'all were protesting. My grandma. Who's that? Who's Abby? Oh, okay. Abby Hoffman was the Black Panther person? Okay. That's our people, Grandma. That's our people. See, I wouldn't want to be in them violent protests. No way. That stuff's scary. That stuff's scary. Back in them days, they were hitting people with the firefighting hose and stuff. No way, man. That's terrifying. That's terrifying to grow up around. See, that's what I mean. You grew up in a very dysfunctional time. Like, just dealing with racism and stuff, period, that stuff's scary. I couldn't imagine living back in those days, Grandma. I couldn't imagine. It's too scary. And then that you dealt with it, even through your relationship and stuff, like you guys didn't get no peace. You didn't get no peace. Like, and believe it or not, guys, growing up back in those days, you know, that stuff plays a toll on your mental, whether you want to believe it or not. But that stuff does cause mental scarring, being around stuff like that. And that's one thing that people don't understand. That's why you got these young kids using the N-word like it's nothing, you know? But there are people who actually went through that word, you know, back in hateful times, and they could care less. That's kind of why my grandma does not like that word be used around her at all, because it's like a trigger. It brings my grandma back to those hateful times. Like, I'm glad I didn't live back in them days, I tell you that. I am thankful. But to be honest, Grandma, it's what made you who you are today, though. And yet you still say so. See, my grandma, and that's one thing too. One of my friends, oh gosh, what's his name? I know his name starts with a W. He's an elderly man. He grew up in Elberton. Elberton is a very, very country bumpkin town. He was in there during the bad times with racial slurs and all that stuff. He got some stories too. Like, he had some stories about the Klan in Elberton and all this stuff. And he's just a little kid. And this stuff is stuff he will never forget. The dude was an intellectual too. The guy read like 4 books a day. No lie, I'm not making this up. This guy is one of my inspirations. He really is. He really is one of my inspirations. Because I want to be able to, because I mean, the way he tells the stories about back then and all that stuff, like, he went through some troubling times. But I tell you this, that man is one of the most nicest people you will ever meet. One of the nicest people you will ever meet. He grew up in a very hateful time where he was continuously, him and his family were continuously degraded and everything, and yet he still came out so nice and polite. That's how you show them. That's how you show them who's boss. Just look at Gandhi, for crying out loud. People think they're solving something with all their anger and hatred, but man, you're not solving anything. You're just hurting yourself. But see, even you, Grandma, you're still very kind and everything, no matter how much hatred you had to deal with for being just in an interracial relationship. I couldn't imagine. Couldn't imagine. But now look at it. Look at it now. Everyone's a mutt. Everyone is a mutt. Everyone is mixed with everything now. Now, isn't that something funny? You tell them, Grandma. See how my grandma's telling y'all? That's right. Grandma, let's close this podcast because I got to get to the gym. I've been sitting out here because I know my friend, I think she's working the shift on her own. And she asked me, James, you coming to the gym tonight? So, and usually, because I told her if she's ever scared working overnight, just let me know. I'll be up there. So, she probably don't even think I'm coming, even though I texted her back. I said, yes, I'm going to be there. So, but yeah, Grandma, let's close out this podcast. So let's do old tradition. Let's do old tradition just when me and you are on. Just when me and you are on, we're going to do old tradition. What do you got to advertise to the people? Go ahead. You got to tell them what it is, Grandma. You can't tell them just Dunkin' Donuts coffee. You got to tell them what you're advertising. There you go. There you go. There you go. You guys got to go get that now. You got to go get it right now. Wherever you're at right now, go find your local Dunkin' Donuts. And I don't care if you got to wait till tomorrow. You got to go do that now. And make sure you call that drink the DJ Marmalade. You got to call it DJ Marmalade. Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts, I'm here to order the DJ Marmalade. If I can just get that on ice, please. And they know what you're talking about. So go get you a large mocha iced coffee with 2 Splendas and 4 creams. And that makes you the DJ Marmalade. That is the DJ Marmalade. My grandma is cool. My grandma's awesome. And I want to advertise. Oh, wait. Do you have anything else you want to advertise, Grandma? There you go. There you go. There you go. Got anything else you want to tell, Grandma? There you go. There you go. You got anything else you want to advertise, Grandma? You see, I give my grandma all the spotlight. She deserves all the spotlight. I honestly think my grandma should get a podcast. Grandma, I tell you, since I've been doing the podcast by myself, I tell you, I've gotten a lot of stress out of my system and everything because I just talk nonstop. I talk nonstop, literally, just nonstop. It feels pretty good. But see, I want to advertise something now. I want to advertise my grandma. My grandma is the coolest person in the world. DJ Marmalade. That's right. That's what she's known for in the DJ world. So if you got any cool parties and stuff that you want my grandma to DJ at, you got to make sure to hit her up. Make sure to ask and request, for these parties that are going on in local Illinois, because my grandma's got the hot beats. She's got the turntables and the ones and twos. So, my grandma, DJ Marmalade, she used to be a radio host back in the day, and she was known for it. And you guys probably remember it if you were back in them days. Back in the day in Illinois, if you were listening to the radio, because my grandma had old recording tapes of it, right? And so when you're listening, you got to hear for, this is DJ Marmalade, giving you those hot beat beats. That's right, DJ Marmalade. That was my grandma. I think it was, yes it was, Decatur's finest WXBL. That's right. Decatur's finest WXBL. That was the name of the show. And before it would come on, you would hear, yeah, this is DJ Marmalade, bringing you those beats. Yeah. So pretty much that's how it would go. It would be like, they had the guy, what was his name? Like, I don't remember the other guy's name, but he would be like, yeah, we thank you guys for tuning in to Decatur, what was it called again? Decatur WXBL. This is your man, Josie Fresh or something like that. And he's like, yeah, and we got, your famous DJ on the turntables, ones and twos, DJ Marmalade. And then you would hear, this is DJ Marmalade, on the ones and twos, bringing those beats. Remember that? See, my grandma even remembers, guys. Case closed. My grandma remembers. It was on Decatur's local news, the Decatur local radio station. It was Decatur WXBL or something like that. I remember the WXBL part. I do remember that because I remember Grandma, she had a shirt that said WXBL. And I said, Grandma, what's WXBL stand for? And you said, it's the radio show I work for. And I said, but Grandma, what's a radio show? And then my grandma just turns around and she just looks at me and goes, this is DJ Marmalade, lay, bringing you those beep. Oh my gosh. Oh, this stuff's too funny, man. But no, that was a real story, guys. That was a real story. But anyway, it is oh man, it's 2:41. Man, how long has this podcast been? Well, we've been on this podcast for a while, Mimi. Let's close this podcast down, Grandma. All right, guys. And we are off the air.